Thanks, guys, for coming. My name is Yony Feng, and I am the co-founder and chief technology officer of Peloton. Just a little before that scares people off a little bit. I started Peloton in 2012, and at that time we had 3 folks: me, Tom, and John. And later on, launched the product in January 2014. And today we have over 400 employees throughout the United States, and we are in a very different stage today. And I'm here to use data storage as a proxy to talk a little bit about our journey through that 5 years period. So a little show of hands, how many people are aware of indoor cycling classes? Great, awesome. I don't have to go into too deep of an explanation for that. Also, how many people consider themselves an engineer or engineering background? Great. Thanks for that context. So before I dig too deep, I am going to go into a little introduction about Peloton. So let's see. Great, who we are. So this is a Peloton indoor cycling class. This is actually a picture of our studio. The instructor on there is Alex Tusani, and this picture was taken from our New York City Chelsea studio on 23rd Street and 6th Avenue. So this is Alex Tusani, and I take quite a few of his classes. His style and playlist is more very energetic, dark room, and his playlists are good. Many of those are hip hop related music genre, and the beat and energy are very much high. And he also, if you can see, he gives very specific instructions and coaching to the audience in class. And what Peloton does is bring this energy experience and music to the comfort of your living room in this case, but also could be your bedroom, could also be in your basement, your gym, home gym. I have my bike right next to my bed in my bedroom. I take a ride almost every day. I take a shorter ride every day. I set myself a goal of 20 minutes every day, so it's not a very kind of 45-minute tougher goal for myself. So getting my heart rate up to 170 BPM, it's actually very awakening for me in the morning. And what we do is transport that energy, the coaching, and also, in addition, the social experience of being in that room with everyone else onto that screen and also throughout the entire bike. And so this is kind of an introduction to the product, that our core product offering. And in addition to the home product, we also earlier this year launched the initiative partnership with Westin to actually place Peloton bikes in Westin hotel rooms, which you can look for that. We also started streaming fitness content that is not cycling content. So in this case, weights, stretching, core, and also yoga content. And throughout the last 3 years after we launched Peloton Bike, we have also launched about 21, 22 showrooms. Our latest addition to our showroom has been Seattle and Denver, which both opened this month. And actually, our instructor was made an appearance in the Seattle showroom, and from what I heard, there was a line out the door, and it was his birthday, and they actually brought him gifts because a lot of remote riders use the showroom as a hub to meet instructors periodically. So the instructors themselves have built a fantastic brand around their personality, around the music that they play, around the coaching style, and we were able to effectively translate that experience to people's living room, to their bedroom, to their homes. So I'm here to then you might ask, what does that got to do with data storage? It's content, it's hardware, software, but I'm here to talk a little bit about data storage. So this is gonna. So I was asked to talk about something very specific, something that could be, a takeaway for earlier stage, a little bit about the journey and the experience. So this, for context, this is our user experience on the bike. So as you can see, I'm Sophie, and I have done 522 kilojoules of output. Above me is Rachel, and behind me is Steven. And I'm catching on to Rachel, and I'm making sure Steven doesn't catch up to me. And in my output, 264, my resistance and my cadence, Alex is, just saying, hey, have a good time, don't worry too much about leaderboard, but I'm a competitive person, so I really care about the leaderboard. That leaderboard is actually what gives you that interaction with everyone else in the classroom, the virtual classroom. And for that leaderboard, you can join live classes. We have 14 live classes every day. So you can attend the live classes. Let's say this was an 8 a.m. class, and you're like, 8 a.m. is too early for me. I don't really wake up until 9 a.m., and 8 a.m. is too early. So I'm going to take classes at 9 p.m. What you can do is take the same class, 9 p.m., and you can actually compete with everyone else in a ghost mode as if you were in the live 8 a.m. class. And have that same effective social and distributed spin class, indoor cycling class feel as if you're in the classroom. And what we also have seen is that people are commenting, having the leaderboard, having usernames on the leaderboard. What they actually do is later on go on our Facebook community, actually share their experiences, and over time we have actually had a pretty vibrant social community on our Facebook page with people sharing each other's experiences, and how this bike has changed their lifestyle and habit, diet, and et cetera, et cetera. And they have also mutually started encouraging each other as well. So that's for context about our product. So this is one of the recent rider reviews that we had 2 weeks ago. The leaderboard is the crux of the difference between Peloton Cycle and all the other spin classes out there. I not only can try and beat the guy who always beats me, but I can try again and again and again from the comfort of my own home or from the New York City studio if I'm feeling really fiery. This is a rider review from 2 weeks ago. I just kind of copy and paste it out there. So a little bit about our challenge as the growth of the company in the last 3 years. This is January 2012. We launched the bike. It was great. Sales was all right. Concurrent users. And then during the holiday season, we saw a triple in traffic. And then the subsequent year, we see another triple in traffic. And this is January of this year, and our traffic quadruple this year. This is concurrent users on our platform. The red is actually live users, and the darker gray one is on demand. So there's some challenges to kind of sustaining that growth, and I'm only talking about the software platform. There's definitely a lot of other challenges from manufacturing, delivery, ops, side of supply chain side of things that will be another couple of days worth of talk as well. So I want to talk about the core implementation of Leaderboard. The first version of Leaderboard, we use a database called Redis, and this is our implementation. Everything was in memory, and there's some challenges with it. The log rewrite cost performance, we actually implemented the first version of our technical leaderboard in about 2 to 3 weeks worth of engineering effort. We launched that into production. That took us, that actually fared pretty well in the first 6 to 8 months. It was a single instance of a database called Redis, which means that it's not horizontally scalable. It also did not have a hot failover, which means if it just went down, it would just go down. But there was a lot of stuff to do in the first launch, in preparation launch of the Peloton platform, and we just did what the easiest thing was. And also the part of the engineering team, Redis was a core technology that people on the engineering team was very familiar with. Leaderboard version 2, we started using EBS instead of in-memory persistence. And we started using Leaderboard as a service. a little more formalized product around this whole concept of the leaderboard, right? A leaderboard as a service, zero RPC layer. We're sharding it by right ID so we can have a little bit of horizontal scalability. And also we started optimizing our compute by using C modules into our Python stack. The bottleneck started becoming the RPC layer, object serialization, and various things in there. We had a few heartburns, but we're going pretty well at that. Iteration number 3. This is the current work in progress. It's C++ hot fail over 100,000 plus concurrent live writers at the same time. And that is our current plan for Leaderboard version 3. So that's great. That's kind of our journey to this core functionality, this core differentiator. But what am I here really to talk about? I want to talk about how you use your engineering efforts and energy. And this is actually the meat of what I'm here to talk about. Those past 3 slides were pretty technical. It didn't seem like things off the shelf. It didn't seem like things that you could kind of just turn on AWS for or anything like that. And that was actually a very conscious decision on our part. And this has to do with what you as a technical leader decide to allocate the people you have and match that with the skill set of the team that you have as well. If you look at all of these items, this is a kind of an ecosystem analysis, value chain map of what you are looking at. Back in 2012, when we look at the leaderboard, and when we look at a few of the other functionalities that are core to our experience, video player, obviously, WebRTC, video chat, real-time notifications, clustering, containerization in the whole entire technical space, and the value chain analysis going from high, medium to low, and also in 2012, what stage that particular technology was in back in 2012, whether it was a never before done custom build product, service, or eventually going to commodity. We made a conscious decision to put a lot of engineering effort into our leaderboard service because we knew that it was going to a core differentiator between Peloton and other forms of workout. And it was going to be core to translating our in-studio experience to people's experience in their living room, in their bedroom, in their home gym. And we knew that it was a Genesis technology. For video player SDK, it was a custom built, but at that time for Android, for RVC is product. But as we look into 2017, it's always important to revisit your value chain map for your ecosystem and look at what piece of technology has evolved in the last 5 years and continuously map which of those pieces of technology is highest on your value chain and has evolved and jumped the most so that you can appropriately evolve your infrastructure, your architecture, so that your engineering time and effort is spent on the highest value chain item, which is going to be more of the R&D effort that you put into it, whether it's going to be custom built, whether it's a genesis of a new technology that's going to enable a new core differentiator between you and other competitive products, or you and other to attract new markets in market segment in the industry. So that's actually the core message I'm here to deliver, which is always evaluate and look at your ecosystem value chain analysis on this aspect, and tell you a little of our journey for this core piece of user experience that we decided to pour so much effort into a custom system. And a little more on the last slide is a summary of the takeaways of our journey through this. Build versus buy decisions is really hard. That is going to be dependent on the skill set of your team. There's known knowns, known unknowns, and then there's unknown unknowns. And if you have a member of your team that have known knowns and known unknowns of a certain product, then you really want to leverage that, even though if you're comparing that against another solution that have a lot of unknown unknowns, that's where you really want to minimize that. Commoditization could be demoralizing. So someone would build this custom system, software, piece of functionality, and they feel ownership around it. But over time, it's important to revisit the landscape and see whether it makes sense to migrate that piece of custom-built software into a service or into a commoditized SaaS product, whatever it may be. It is going to be a little demoralizing, but at the same time, the message should be that we're reinvesting energy and resources into other areas that is going to give us a bigger competitive advantage. And then constantly evaluating the engineering core competencies and where your core differentiators are, so that you have a very clear focus on where you want to allocate your engineering resources. Aggressively consolidate tech stacks, sharpen the team's focus. And lastly, as a leader in the engineering organization, you want to continue to iterate on the assess, strategize, execute, collect data, feedback, and reassess. That continuous loop of thoughtful leadership, focus to motivate your team on spending the most energy and time on areas that really matter for your product. So yeah, that's my last slide. Just a really quick, short overview, a little deeper dive into one aspect of Peloton's core differentiators. That's it. So.
Very cool. In the interest of time, yeah, opening up questions.
Just a quick question about the way that the leaderboard gets executed as a user. I've noticed that it doesn't always exactly match up. Can you talk to the accuracy of the leaderboard in a given moment with the ghost riders versus the recorded riders? How accurate is it at any given moment?
So when you say, so the question is how accurate is the leaderboard when you're taking the ride as a ghost rider versus a live rider, for example. So I would say the ghost rider is actually probably more accurate, and here's the reason why. During a live scenario, you have 1,000 people taking the class live, and not every data point is going to go back into your platform at exactly the right time, or people's Wi-Fi are potentially dropping a packet and whatnot. But when you're going on demand, well, it's just you taking that on-demand ride and replaying back the data that has been persisted already over time. So from an accuracy, from a latency perspective, on-demand is going to give you the best accuracy from that perspective. Of course, on-demand is going to be only as good as the amount of data you collect during the live session.
Hi. So I know you talk a whole lot about this, but I was actually curious about your installation sort of optimization. I know you guys do in-home sort of installation, and that's really awesome, and you're really committed to your customer service. That's great, but it takes a lot of man hours. And I'm curious to know what are some of the ways that you've optimized that so that you can do a lot of them, especially as you scale and grow.
That's a great question, and the question is what are some of the things we do to scale the installation, which in the industry last mile delivery of our product, especially during that 350% growth phase during the holiday season, where everyone needs to get their bike within the same SLA that we've communicated them on our website. That's a great question. And we have definitely evolved in the last 3 years. We currently have a combination of third-party last-mile providers that are working with us and our own last-mile delivery division in Peloton. We have 4 cities. I might be a little outdated on the information. I think we're in 4 metropolitan areas that we have Peloton own Sprinter delivery service where we set up the bike and activate the bike and make sure that you can log in, all this stuff for people at home. And through a lot of this is actually just if you keep iterating on it, reassessing it, strategize, and take the data point and then reassess, you could actually, a lot of you could arrive at that, but it's the dedication to improvement that is really the driving the results we have today. For example, some of the things we do, we actually set up the bike before we deliver to our customers. We assemble everything in our warehouses. We actually turn it on, test it, and we do all that stuff, kind of pre-provision it for our users before we take it to customers' homes. So that if, we have small percentage of DOAs, but if we do encounter one, we actually QA, sanity, quality control, check that before we put it on our Sprinter vans and actually deliver it to people's homes. So that's one instance, and we are continuously making sure that our software activation and onboarding flow is as seamless and easy for people in the customer homes as possible. One user story that we heard was, I'm not sure if I can tell this story, but I'm going to tell it anyways. One of our Sprinter delivery team delivered this bike to a user, to one of our customers, and she was holding a baby, and she had to enter her password to log on to activate the bike, and she had such a great experience with our delivery staff that she's like, could you just hold my baby for a few seconds while I enter the... So there was such a great level of trust, and because of how our staff interacted with the customer and the rider, I think that just kind of comes to a testament of it's the details, it's your demeanor, it's the passion that you portray, even in the last mile delivery staff. That is just putting every single part of that matters to put the final touches into the whole entire Peloton experience.
Great.
I love that thing. That's a fantastic idea.
So what are you going to do with all that money that you raised? Are you guys going to hire even more? How big is the engineering organization and the data organization?
So the engineering organization, the whole entire software organization is around 75. Out of the 400, we have around 150 to 100 on the studio side of things. We have about 100 to 150 on the retail side of things. There's a large logistics operations staff that supports that. We also have hardware engineering that goes into that mechanical, industrial design, and quality as well. So for a product of that magnitude, there's a good amount of mechanical engineering, industrial design, embedded systems, and we also have, of course, software, streaming ops, production technician in the New York studio team as well. So it is a truly fully vertically integrated from a content production, hardware, manufacturing, and of course software. And when I say software, I have a software background. So in software, there's many subcategories of that whole category as well. So with this round of fundraising, we're really looking to expand. You kind of seen some of the additional contents that we're focusing on, and we're going to continue to make great products and great user experiences in the future. And we're definitely going to need a lot more engineers as well. So.
Well, it's amazing. It's been a wonderful thing to watch you guys succeed at that level. At the end of the day, there's not that many companies that have truly broken out in this whole connected hardware. If you think of, maybe a Ring, there's a handful. Fitbit, obviously. You guys are very much part of it. So thank you very much for coming.
I think the most secret sauce is actually the people that you work with. In my journey at Peloton, I've cleaned toilets. I've actually streamed classes myself. Waking up at 6 a.m. actually is that entrepreneurial spirit and energy and also knowing that the people that you're working alongside with you have that same mentality, energy as well. And I'm thankful for every moment of it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.